My ex-husband and his wife think that my financial responsibility extends to his stepchildren. Now he is shattered when he realizes that our children don't see him as their father. I'm 34, with 2 kids, 13 and 9, divorced 4 years ago after I found out he was sleeping with another mom from our son's school. He married her 11 months later. We do shared custody, but honestly, it's a joke. He takes the kids every other weekend, but half the time he cancels last minute, says work is crazy, or his stepdaughter has a game he needs to attend. Last month, I finally upgraded my oldest son's gaming setup. The kid had been using the same laptop since 5th grade, and it was dying. Spent $800 on a new one plus a monitor. My son was thrilled. That weekend, when my ex picked up the kids, he saw the setup, didn't say anything to me, just took the kids and left. 3 days later, I get this text. Says if I have $800 to spend on electronics, maybe I should help with his 11-year-old stepdaughter's braces. Said it's only fair since his household income is stretched thin with 3 kids now. I texted back saying my financial decisions don't concern him, and his stepkids aren't my responsibility. He replied that my kids spend time at his house, so they're all one family. That his stepdaughter feels bad seeing my son with new things when she's stuck with hand-me-downs. I told him that's between him and his wife's ex-husband, not my problem. Then his wife texts me, calls me selfish, says I'm purposely making her daughter feel inferior, that if I really cared about my kids' well-being, I'd want them comfortable in both homes. I told her she had 10 seconds to stop texting me before I blocked her number. She kept going, so I blocked her. 2 weeks pass, my ex shows up for his weekend pickup. My 9-year-old is working on this big poster board project for school. He's been working on it all week with my brother Luke. Luke's been incredible since the divorce. He takes the kids to their games when I'm working late, helps with homework, takes them camping twice a year. My ex walks in and sees the project, asks if he can help finish it. My son doesn't even look up, says, "No thanks. Uncle Luke already helped me get it done. We're just adding finishing touches." My ex freezes. "Who's Uncle Luke?" he asks. My son, still not looking at him, says, "Uncle Luke is the guy who actually shows up for stuff." My daughter, who's been quiet this whole time, adds, "Yeah, Uncle Luke took us to see that movie you said you'd take us to, but then canceled." My ex's face goes completely white. He looks at me like I just punched him in the stomach. I don't say anything, just shrug and tell the kids to grab their bags. That night around 11 p.m., my phone blows up. 6 texts in a row. He's saying he's been trying his best, that balancing 2 households is harder than I understand, that his stepdaughter just lost her dad to a cross-country move and needs stability, that he can't just abandon her. I wait until morning to respond. Send one message. Your actual daughter needed a father too, but you chose his stepdaughter's soccer tournaments over her dance recital. You missed her birthday last year because your stepson had a baseball game. These are your choices. He calls immediately. I don't answer. He calls 5 more times, leaves a voicemail crying, saying I'm being cruel, that he loves his kids, that this isn't fair. I delete it without listening to the whole thing. The next day, his mom texts me, says her son has been devastated for 3 days, barely eating, asking if I'm happy now that I've destroyed him, says I'm poisoning the kids against their father, that they used to adore him and now they treat him like a stranger. I respond, I didn't destroy anything. He chose to be father of the year to someone else's kids while his own learned to stop expecting him to show up. That's not poison. That's pattern recognition. My ex shows up the next weekend with his wife, both of them. They march past me into my house uninvited. "We need to discuss Luke," his wife announces coldly. She drops printed photos on my kitchen table, surveillance photos of Luke with my kids at the park, at restaurants, at their school pickup. "You're letting a stranger around our children," my ex says. I'm confused until his wife smiles meanly. "We hired someone to look into him. Turns out your precious brother Luke isn't who you think he is." She slides over a police report from 2008 with Luke's photo, and the charges listed make my stomach drop through the floor. I mean, my hands literally went numb for a second. The paper felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Sexual assault allegations, 3rd degree something or other. My brain kind of short-circuited because Luke had been around my kids for years, you know? He's my actual brother, we grew up together. I would know if something was off about him, right? I snatched the paper from her perfectly manicured hand and actually read it this time. The date caught my eye first, 2008. Luke would have been like 22 then, fresh out of college. Then I noticed something else. The document looked weird. The font wasn't consistent. Some parts were darker than others, like someone had scanned and edited it. "Where did you get this?" I asked, my voice coming out way calmer than I felt. My ex's wife crossed her arms, that smug smile still plastered on her face. Does it matter? What matters is that you've been letting a predator around our children. Our children. Like she had any claim to my kids. Actually, it matters a lot, I said, pulling out my phone. I called Luke right there in front of them. He answered on the second ring. Hey, what's up? Luke, I need you to be completely honest with me. Were you ever accused of sexual assault in 2008? There was silence on the other end. My heart started pounding harder. Jesus, he finally said. I haven't thought about that in years. Yeah, I was. My ex-girlfriend at the time, Brittany, she went completely psycho when I broke up with her, filed a false police report saying I assaulted her at a party. But it was dismissed. Like, completely dismissed. The police found text messages from her admitting she made it up to get back at me. I've got all the paperwork somewhere if you need it. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Can you send me copies of the dismissal documents? And any character references from that time? Sure, but what's this about? I'll explain later. Just send them now, please. Within 5 minutes, my phone started dinging with PDFs, dismissal documents, police reports showing the investigation concluded the allegations were false, character references from his employer at the time, from our parents, from friends. I pulled them up on my phone and showed them to my ex and his wife. This case was dismissed, I said slowly, like I was talking to children. Completely cleared, which you would know if you'd actually done proper research instead of doctoring screenshots to make it look active. My ex's face went pale. His wife's smile faltered. We didn't doctor anything, she said, but her voice wavered. Really? Because the font's different in 3 places on this document you gave me, and the case number doesn't match the actual court records. I was bluffing about the court records part, but clearly it worked because she went white too. Get out of my house, I said quietly, right now. You can't just, my ex started. I said get out, both of you, before I call the cops for trespassing and harassment. His wife's expression shifted then, from smug to something nastier. We've already sent copies to the school administration, she said, and to your workplace. By Monday, everyone's going to know you let a predator around children. My hands clenched into fists. You did what? Maybe next time you'll think twice before being so selfish, she said, grabbing her purse. Come on, babe. They left, and I immediately called the school principal. It was Saturday, so I left a voicemail explaining the situation and said I'd be sending the dismissal documents first thing Monday morning. Then I called my boss and did the same thing. I spent the rest of the weekend absolutely furious. Like, I couldn't even sleep. I kept thinking about the audacity of them hiring an investigator to dig into Luke's past, then doctoring evidence to make him look dangerous, and sending it to my workplace, to my kids' school. They were trying to destroy my reputation as a parent. Sunday night, I made a decision. If they wanted to play dirty, I could play dirty too. I called a private investigator I'd found online, one with good reviews, told him exactly what I needed. I want to know everything about my ex-husband's finances, I said, specifically whether he's been honest about his income for child support purposes. And I want to know about his wife's background, social media, everything. The investigator, a guy named Tony, said it would take about 3 days. I paid his retainer fee right there over the phone. Monday morning, I drove to the school with printed copies of Luke's dismissal documents. The principal, Mrs. Howard, looked embarrassed when I handed them over. I'm so sorry you had to deal with this, she said. We received an email Saturday morning with concerning allegations, but we hadn't made any decisions yet. These documents clear everything up. I want a formal letter stating that Luke is cleared and allowed on school grounds, I said, because if this affects his ability to pick up my kids or attend their events, we're going to have a problem. She agreed immediately and had it drafted by the end of the day. I did the same thing at work. My boss, thankfully, had just laughed when she got the email from my ex's wife. I figured it was bullshit. She told me, your brother's been to company picnics. He's obviously fine, but thanks for the documentation anyway. By Wednesday, Tony the investigator called me back. You're going to want to sit down for this, he said. What he'd found made my blood boil all over again. My ex had gotten a massive promotion 8 months ago. His salary jumped from $75,000 to $130,000 a year. He never disclosed it for child support modification like he was legally required to. He'd been lying this whole time about being financially stretched thin. But that wasn't even the worst part. Tony had found a social media account belonging to my ex's wife. She'd been running it under a fake name, but it was definitely her. The account was dedicated to posting about her life as a stepmom dealing with a vindictive ex-wife. She didn't use names, but the details were specific enough that anyone who knew us would recognize the situation. She'd posted about my son's new gaming setup, calling me wasteful and selfish. She posted about Luke, calling him creepy and questioning why I let him around the kids. She'd even posted private details about my ex's custody schedule and complaints about me that could have only come from him. Every single post violated our custody agreement's privacy clause. We'd specifically agreed not to post about each other or the kids on social media. I had Tony screenshot everything, every single post, every comment, every violation. Then I just sat there in my living room, staring at all this evidence spread out on my coffee table. My ex had been playing poor this whole time, crying about how hard it was to support 3 kids when he was making almost double what he claimed. And his wife had been publicly trashing me online, painting herself as a struggling stepmom while I was apparently the villain. I was done being nice. Thursday afternoon, I showed up at their house. I knew the kids wouldn't be there because they were at their respective other parents' houses. I knocked on the door, and my ex answered looking genuinely surprised to see me. "We need to talk," I said, pushing past him into the house. His wife came down the stairs, and her expression immediately went cold when she saw me. "You need to leave," she said. "Not until you see these," I said, dropping printouts of her social media posts onto their dining room table. Then I added the documents showing his promotion and salary increase. My ex's face drained of color. His wife started flipping through the posts, her hands shaking slightly. "You've been lying about your income," I said to him. "You owe me thousands in back child support. And you," I turned to his wife, "have been violating our custody agreement by posting about our private situation online. Those posts don't use names," she said weakly. "Doesn't matter. The details are specific enough. Any lawyer would have a field day with this." My ex ran his hands through his hair. "Look, we can work this out. You tried to destroy Luke's reputation with a doctored police report," I said, my voice rising. "You sent false accusations to my workplace and my kid's school. You wanted to make me look like a negligent parent. So no, we're not working anything out. I'm filing for a child support modification hearing, and I'm requesting a custody evaluation." "You can't do that," his wife said, but she sounded panicked. "Watch me." That's when she really lost it. She started yelling about how I was vindictive, how I was trying to destroy their family, how my ex had promised her this wouldn't come back to haunt them. "You promised me the Luke thing would work," she screamed at him. "You said we get reduced custody and lower payments." My ex looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. "Shut up," he hissed at her. "No, you said we needed to do this because you couldn't afford the payments anymore, that we needed to prove she was an unfit mother." I just stood there, letting her confess everything. It was beautiful, honestly. "So you planned this together," I said slowly. "The fake evidence against Luke, the surveillance, sending it to my work in the school, all of it." Neither of them said anything, which was answer enough. I picked up my printouts and headed for the door. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." As I was leaving, I heard crying from upstairs. I paused. His stepdaughter, the 11-year-old, must have come home early. She appeared at the top of the stairs, her phone in her hand. Our eyes met for just a second. She looked terrified. I left and drove straight to my lawyer's office. By Friday afternoon, we'd filed for a child support modification hearing with all the evidence of his hidden income. We also filed for a custody evaluation, citing attempted parental alienation and fraud. My ex called me probably 30 times that weekend. I didn't answer. He left voicemails begging me not to go through with it, saying it would destroy his career if his employer found out about the financial dishonesty, that his wife was already mad at him, that he'd made a mistake. Too bad. The next couple weeks were tense. My ex kept trying to contact me through his mom, through mutual friends, even through his stepdaughter's school somehow. I ignored all of it. I'd given my lawyer strict instructions that all communication had to go through the court-approved co-parenting app we'd been ordered to use. Then something unexpected happened. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and I'd just gotten home from work when there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find my ex's stepdaughter standing there, alone. "How did you get here?" I asked, surprised. "Walked," she said quietly. "It's only like 2 miles. Does your mom know where you are?" She shook her head. "Can I come in? I need to talk to you." I hesitated, then let her in. This felt like some kind of setup, honestly, but she looked genuinely scared, not scheming. We sat in my living room and she pulled out her phone. "I recorded what happened that day you came over," she said, "when my mom admitted they faked the evidence against your brother." My heart started racing. "You what?" "I was upstairs doing homework, and I heard shouting. I started recording because my mom and your ex fight a lot, and sometimes I need proof of stuff for my therapist." She pulled up a video on her phone and handed it to me. It was shaky footage, clearly recorded from the top of the stairs, but the audio was crystal clear. His wife screaming about how the plan was supposed to work, my ex telling her to shut up, her admitting they'd faked the police report to try to get reduced custody and lower child support payments. "Why are you giving this to me?" I asked. She looked down at her hands. "Because I'm tired of my mom being obsessed with destroying you. You've never done anything to us. Your kids are actually really nice when they're over." But my mom talks about you constantly. Like you're this evil person who's trying to ruin her life. And I know that's not true. Does your mom know you have this? No, and I'm not telling her. She's going to be really mad at you if she finds out. The girl shrugged. She's always mad at me anyway. Nothing I do is good enough, but at least this way something good might come from it. I didn't know what to say. This kid was 11 years old and already completely disillusioned with her mother. There's something else, she said. My mom's been taking money from your child support payments. Like, your ex gives her the money to spend on stuff for your kids when they're at our house, but she uses it to buy things for herself instead. New clothes, makeup, stuff like that. I've heard them fighting about it. How long has that been going on? Like 6 months maybe? Since she bought that new purse that cost like $2,000. Your ex got really mad and said that was supposed to be for groceries for your kids, but she said they could just eat mac and cheese or whatever. I felt sick, not just at the theft, but at the fact that this child had been living in the middle of all this dysfunction. Can you send me that video? I asked gently. She nodded and airdropped it to my phone. Then she stood up to leave. Thank you, I said. I mean it. This really helps. Your kids are lucky, she said quietly. You actually care about them. After she left, I immediately sent the video to my lawyer. She called me back within an hour. This is huge, she said. This is a confession on tape, and if his wife has been misusing child support payments, that's a whole other violation. I'm drafting a settlement offer. The settlement offer was brutal. My ex would voluntarily reduce his custody time to supervised visits only for 6 months. Pending family therapy, he'd pay the corrected child support amount going forward, plus $23,000 in back payments. And both he and his wife would sign agreements never to contact me or Luke again, except through the court-approved app. If he didn't accept, we'd play the recording for the custody evaluator and pursue legal action for the misused child support funds. My lawyer sent it Friday afternoon. My ex called me Saturday morning. I didn't answer, but he left a voicemail. You're bluffing, he said. There's no way you have evidence of any of that. You're just trying to scare me. Fine, let him find out the hard way. Monday morning, my lawyer sent the settlement offer again, this time with a transcript of the recording attached. My ex didn't call after that. The custody evaluation was scheduled for 2 weeks later. I brought the recording, the social media posts, the income discrepancy evidence, everything. The evaluator, a woman in her 50s who looked like she'd seen every kind of custody disaster imaginable, listened to the recording twice. This is extremely concerning, she said. Attempting to fabricate evidence of criminal behavior to manipulate custody arrangements shows a fundamental lack of judgment and concern for the children's well-being. She interviewed my kids separately. My son told her that he felt more comfortable at my house because Uncle Luke actually played video games with him and helped with homework. My daughter said she liked going to her dad's house sometimes, but she didn't like how his wife always seemed angry about something. The evaluator's report came back a week later. It recommended supervised visitation only, noted my ex's persistent prioritization of stepchildren's needs over his biological children's needs, and flagged his wife's interference as a major concern for the children's well-being. My ex was screwed. The night before the final hearing, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw his wife standing there, alone. She was crying. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won out. I cracked the door open, but kept the chain on. What do you want? Please, she said, her voice cracking. Please drop all of this. I'll do whatever you want, just don't go through with the hearing tomorrow. We're way past that. He's going to leave me, she sobbed. Because of all this stress, our marriage is falling apart. His parents blame me for everything. His sister won't talk to me anymore. If you go through with this tomorrow, it's going to destroy our whole family. You should have thought about that before you faked a police report. That was his idea, she said desperately. I just went along with it because he kept saying we couldn't afford the child support anymore. But I never wanted any of this to happen. I just wanted our family to work. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Say that again. Say it was his idea to fake the police report. She must have been really desperate because she actually did it. She admitted on camera that my ex had orchestrated the whole Luke scheme, that he'd been the one to find the investigator, to doctor the police report, to send it to my workplace and the school. She admitted to stealing child support money, to running the social media account, to trying to manipulate the custody situation. When she was done, I stopped recording. Go home, I said, and get a good lawyer, because you're going to need one. She stood there for a moment, mascara running down her face, then turned and left. The hearing the next morning was quick. My lawyer presented the original evidence, then played both recordings, the one from the stepdaughter and the one from his wife's confession the night before. The arbitrator listened to everything without interrupting. When the recordings finished, he turned to my ex's lawyer. Does your client have anything to say? My ex tried to speak, but his lawyer put a hand on his arm and shook his head. No, Your Honor. The ruling was immediate, supervised visitation only for 6 months, pending family therapy and anger management classes. Retroactive child support owed plus penalties, $23,000 to be paid in monthly installments, a restraining order preventing his wife from any contact with me or the children. And here's the kicker. The arbitrator noted that if my ex showed continued patterns of parental alienation or financial dishonesty, the court would consider terminating his parental rights entirely. My ex sat there looking like someone had hollowed him out. His lawyer was packing up papers, looking thoroughly disgusted with his client. After the hearing, my kids were waiting in the hallway with my mom. The arbitrator had ruled that my ex could speak to them briefly before the supervised visit started. He approached them, his eyes red from crying. "Hey guys," he said softly. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I know I've messed up a lot lately, but I'm going to work on being better, okay?" My 13-year-old looked at him for a long moment. Then he turned and walked away without saying a word. My 9-year-old followed her brother. My ex stood there watching them leave, and I swear I saw something break in him, the realization that he destroyed his relationship with his own children while trying to prioritize someone else's kids. "They'll come around," his lawyer said, but even he didn't sound convinced. I took my kids home and we ordered pizza. They seemed lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. We didn't talk about the hearing, we just ate pizza and watched a movie. And for the first time in months, everything felt normal. That night I got a text from my ex's number. It was long. "I know you won't respond, and I don't expect you to, but I need to say this. You were right about everything. I did prioritize them over my own kids. I did lie about money. I did let her manipulate me into doing things I knew were wrong. The kids used to look at me like I was their hero, and now they can't even stand to be in the same room with me. I've lost them. I know that now. I'm moving out of state in 3 weeks for a job transfer that she doesn't know about yet. I'm leaving all of this behind because I can't face what I've become. I failed as a father, and I failed them in every way that matters. I'm sorry." I read it twice, then put my phone down without responding. A week later, I got an email notification that my ex had submitted a formal request to the court to modify his visitation schedule. He was voluntarily relinquishing his custody time and agreeing to supervise visits only once a month, with the option for the kids to decline if they chose. He was giving up, actually giving up. I showed the email to my kids. "Do you want to see him?" I asked. "Even once a month?" My 13-year-old shook his head. "Uncle Luke's taking me fishing this weekend. That's more important." My 9-year-old just shrugged. "I don't care." And that was that. The man who'd helped create them, who was supposed to be their father, was now just someone they used to know. 3 weeks later, I got a message through the co-parenting app. My ex had moved to Oregon for a job transfer. He included a new address for where to send any legal documents. No mention of wanting to stay in touch with the kids. No mention of visiting rights. Just a cold, administrative message about a forwarding address. He'd chosen to walk away from them entirely. A month after that, his wife's social media account disappeared. I heard through the grapevine that they were getting divorced, that she was moving back in with her parents, that her daughter had refused to go with her and was living with her biological father now. Everything they'd built together, that whole blended family they'd been so desperate to protect, had completely fallen apart. Luke came over that weekend with his girlfriend and we had a barbecue. My kids ran around the backyard with water guns, laughing and completely carefree. Luke flipped burgers and made terrible dad jokes, and my daughter rolled her eyes but smiled anyway. This was our family now. Not perfect, but real, built on people who actually showed up. My phone buzzed with one final message from my ex's number. "I destroyed everything myself. I know the kids won't forgive me, and I don't blame them. I'm moving out of state for a job transfer she doesn't know about yet, essentially abandoning everyone. You were right to fight back. I deserve to lose them." I read it, then deleted it. I didn't respond. Make sure to click on the screen to watch other stories.